I didn't have a single employee working under me until I'd been on the job for more than 8 years. And celebrating isn't really the right word either. It's not that I disliked my job, which was to enlist corporate sponsors to fund our industry research reports. I was pretty great at sales. My little 2-person division was earning the company upward of $2 million a year. What I was having trouble with were the people, namely Jack, who could not understand why a long-time editor might not want to be given a new role. I had never been quite so forthcoming with Jack before, mind you. I just figured he might want to know that one of his most senior employees was unhappy and, at that point, I had nothing to lose by being honest. Unfortunately, Jack did not appreciate my honesty. In fact, he was pissed. "She's an entrepreneur, Raegan," he said, his voice rising. "She knows where we're taking the company. She understands." I've never been good at holding my tongue. That's probably the Aussie in me. I've always given my opinion, primarily when asked, but on this occasion I did so freely. In this case, I happened to know that Jack was way off. When it comes to office politics, lower-level employees often know more about what people really think and feel about a company than the people barricaded behind closed doors in the C-suite. And as a lower-level employee at the time, I happened to know that Jill was evaluating her options. Clearly she was not thrilled. But Jack refused to listen. He didn't think I could possibly understand, not being an entrepreneur myself. To him, I was just stirring up trouble. He wasn't totally wrong about that part, though. I do have a penchant for troublemaking. I was a bit of a party girl mess in high school, skipping class, staying out late, drinking. I had more than a few, albeit minor, run-ins with the local police. I dropped out of university midway through my first semester and spent the early part of my 20s dancing on tables, fully clothed, to encourage the tourists to visit the bar on the island of Santorini in Greece to support myself while backpacking around Europe. As my mum would no doubt tell you, because she's been telling this story to anyone who will listen for more than 40 years, I once locked her out of the house when I was 2 years old because she told me no. Because I knew what I was in for once she got a hold of me, I absolutely refused to open the door. She had to crawl through a window to get back inside while she was 7 months pregnant with my sister Paige. Only later did I realise that the traits I was seemingly born with, a tendency to push boundaries and question authority, plus a fiery independence, are fairly typical for an entrepreneur. After running out of money from gallivanting around Europe, I came home to Sydney and went into sales, working for a professional hair care brand, then at pharmaceutical giants SmithKline Beecham and Pfizer. At every job I was the top salesperson, but despite my track record, I was held back, especially at The Economist. I was repeatedly passed over for promotions and constantly told to stay in my box, to focus on what I was good at. I refused to agree with the boss simply because he was in charge, and it quickly became obvious that my bosses, almost all of whom were men, did not like having their leadership or decision-making questioned by a junior-level, outspoken woman. I started to dream about what my company might one day look like, all the things I'd do differently, all the ways I'd value and listen to my employees regardless of their position in the company, how much fun it would be to throw the hierarchical nonsense and bureaucratic bullshit right out the window. I didn't think of myself as an entrepreneur, but I knew that I wanted to do something on my own. Open a coffee shop maybe, or a restaurant. The venture itself didn't much matter. I didn't get joy out of going to work for someone else, and I was drawn to the freedom I'd have doing my own thing. Part of me wanted to stick it to all those bosses who didn't think I had it in me, and another part was waiting to find the nerve to make a go of it on my own. What I wanted most, however, was to prove to myself that I could do it. But I had stayed at these jobs unfulfilled and unchallenged because I had yet to come up with the right idea that I felt had real substance and a bloody great chance of being a successful business. And it was really thanks to Jack that I realised, even though I had a lot of pressure at work and at home, having started a family, that I needed to take a risk, to not only dream but also go for it, to make the leap and not hold myself back. It seems I'm not the only one who has the dream and the drive to go it on my own. More and more women are leaving the corporate world to do exactly what I did.